Thank you, Martí. Merci, Martí. We are going to follow with the first table. And as you said, I mean, we always try to mix experiences, the new programs, the projects from the roots, and also some reflections about the nowadays debates on commemorating Europe. But the first table, it's my honor also to give the floor and to say hello to the colleagues from the European Commission. First of all, Gilles Pelayo, bonjour. He is head of unit of the CERV program at the EACA agency, no, ACEA, and he was the responsible also to improve and to follow this project and how to move this project from one general direction to the other, and how it's now bigger than it was before, and the challenges nowadays, and how is this program is going to continue and to follow. And also to say hello to Peter Fabian Hayek from the DG Justice, and he is responsible of the Remembrance strand of this CERV program too. CERV program, it's citizenship, equality, rights and values, and how these remembrance public policies are interaction with this platform to help these stakeholder civil society associations inside this citizenship program. So first of all, Gilles, je te cède la parole. Bonjour.
Merci. Bonjour. Thank you very much, Constance, Martí, for the house, and Jordi for your own. It's always very good to be back in this format of meeting, annual, and it's nice because it allows us to really, as the name indicates, take a bit stock of the elapsed year. And the purpose of our intervention will be to take stock of how the funding programs on Remembrance have evolved over the past 12 years. I will start with a very, let's say, general scene setup presentation on the overall parameters of the program, and then Peter Fabian Hayek, who is a co-coordinator on Remembrance, will share more focus and more detailed information on this part of the program, which is, I think, of greater interest to the participants and to the member of the Europe network and other, let's say, friendly participants. So just to say that the elapsed year has been quite eventful. When we left each other last year in December 2020, the new programs were not finalized yet completely. Let's say even if there was a kind of political agreement at the top of the EU level, let's say the exact parameters and budgets for Remembrance and generally for our program were not set yet. Today we are in a much better place because we have the Citizens, Equality, Rights and Values program that has confirmed the interest in the importance attached to working on remembrance issues, on history, and that is good, and that is comforting for actors like you. In terms of the budget also, the political signal has been sent that this is an area of growing importance, because from an initial, let's say, estimate of in excess of 600 million euro, the budgetary authority, that is the European Parliament and the Council, have pitched it for the programming period 21-27 finally at 1.55 billion euro for the overall program, and not only for Remembrance. So this is quite significant, and since we are hosted here by the European Parliament, I would like to salute the pivotal role of the European Parliament in making this happen, because members of the European Parliament on many sides of the political spectrum have really supported this program throughout the negotiations. So that's one important point. The objectives of the Citizens' Equality, Rights and Values program are wider than just Remembrance. Indeed, they are broad. The general objective is to protect and promote the rights and values as enshrined in the EU treaties and the EU Charter, by supporting civil society organizations and local actors, other stakeholders active at the local, regional, national, and transnational level, because we also work with local authorities in some components of the program. So there are four major components in the program. The union values strand, because a strong emphasis has been put on union values. Under the union values strands, we are already doing what we call operating grants to civil society organizations. So it's my privilege and pleasure that this is already a call for proposals that we have done. And I can congratulate Yoram for being selected again for a 4 years framework partnership with us. So that gives a long-term visibility to big partners at the European level, and it's, let's say, comforting to see that the important work done by the network will be able to continue with our support over the coming 4 years. There is a second strand that's called Equality, Rights and Gender, that is managed by our colleagues in DG Justice, which is the successor of the Rights, Equality and Citizenship program. And then there's the third strand called Citizens' Engagement and Participation, and that is where Remembrance activities are being supported. So this strand is the successor to the Europe for Citizens program. So it's been incorporated in this broader, bigger program. And the Citizens' Engagement and Participation strand, I repeat, is where we will launch calls for proposals on Remembrance, as Peter will explain. There is a fourth strand called the Daphne strand, focused on the fight against, say, violence, notably domestic violence, also against women, and it's also an important element of what we do. This is also managed by our colleagues in DG Justice. So that's globally the scene that I wanted to set. So confirmation of the growing importance of working on memory issues. This has been confirmed at the political level. The evolution of political debates all across the continent illustrates even more than ever, perhaps, the importance of having transnational approaches to history, to memory, to memories, and we will continue over the coming now 6 years, because the first year is already about to finish. I now give the floor to Peter Fabian Hayek, who will zoom in on the exact, let's say, singularities and parameters of the Remembrance action within the program.
Hello, so I'm Peter Fabian Hayek. Just a little correction to Jordi. I am also from the agency, the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. I'm replacing Johannes Bormann, who was supposed to be here from DG Justice, as you very well said. So my presentation will will go about the 2022 edition of the European Remembrance program, so the one that is to come, and also I will briefly and first present. Sorry, I share my screen. the results of the last call, which was 2021. This year, we published 2 programs basically because of the nature of the EU programming. So very recently, on the 16th of November, we have published our last program. But first, let's speak about the key figures of the 2021, which have been shared with the applicants on Tuesday morning through the funding and tender portal. And you can also I just see it on the web page of the 2021 program by going to topic updates, and here you can see all the results. So basically, this year the deadline was on the 22nd of June at 17-hour Brussels time. It is always this as opposed to the Europe for Citizens program, where it was at noon. But okay, it's just an interesting fact. The cost budget was 4,515,000 euros. We received 95 proposals, of which we had 84 eligible. We have selected 27 proposals on the main list for funding. So we began the contracting with them, and 4 proposals were placed on the reserve list. So for the next call, the 2022 European Remembrance, the call has been published on the 16th of November, as I said. Sadly, however, due to technical issues that is above our our head, so we cannot solve it ourselves. We need for this the IT department to be able to solve this problem. So we expect to open it as soon as possible. The deadline for submission will be on the 24th of March 2022. The evaluation will run from March to June, notification of results from June to July, and we expect to start the signature of the grant decision in August, and which will last until October. Yeah, sorry, just a second, I need to fix here. Okay, voila. So the budget for this new call is 8 million euros, and a drastic change compared to the Europe for Citizens program, where we also had the European Remembrance action, is that there are no more limits to the maximum grant requested in this program. This is a lump sum type grant, as I will explain. The objective of the call is to support projects aimed at commemorating defining events in modern European history, including the causes and consequences of authoritarian and totalitarian regimes, and at raising awareness among European citizens of the common history, cultural heritage and values, thereby enhancing their understanding of the Union, its origins, purpose, diversity, and achievements of the importance of mutual understanding and tolerance. So our priorities, we have 2 priorities. Under the first priority, applications are expected to commemorate, research, and to teach about crimes committed under the totalitarian and authoritarian regimes, with a priority on Holocaust remembrance, research and education, but not exclusively Holocaust. This is the first priority, but projects under this priority can also focus on other crimes committed under totalitarian authoritarian regimes in the modern European history, of course. Under the second priority, projects should focus on the key role that resistance plays in fighting occupation, overthrows totalitarian regimes, and paves the way for democratic transitions in Europe. Projects under this priority should analyze and highlight resistance and organized opposition, or highlight the democratic transition, including attempts providing justice for victims, or focus on how the EU accession influenced democratic standards and practices of the new democracies throughout the accession process. Of course, there might be overlaps between these two priorities. So the projects, I mean, the applications and the projects can treat both of the priorities if they want, but they should at least focus on one of those two priorities. So in order to be eligible, the activities should be in scope with the objectives of the program, and they should address one or both of the two priorities. As I said, they should include minimum 2 different organizations, develop 2 different eligible organizations, develop different types of activities and make them accessible to everyone, involve different target groups, preferably they should be implemented preferably at transnational level. They should share and promote the memory and legacy of the crimes committed by totalitarian regimes, as well as research to curb distortion, as Jordi already mentioned this during his introductory speech. And they should also foster a culture of remembrance and understanding. So what we expect from this project is to allow a European approach to history related to Holocaust and to add a European dimension to relevant debates on important historical events and moments of the recent European history. They should contribute to create lasting changes in participants' attitude towards European history, its values and its culture, to counter Holocaust denial and distortion, which is at its peak now in these times, apparently. To identify, safeguard, and make available archival materials, testimonies, and authentic sites for education purposes, commemoration, and research, and to anchor a common culture of respecting fundamental rights and EU values in the target audience. So what should, this will be the technical part of my presentation for those who want to apply to our program, to our call. So the proposal should be submitted electronically, and I will come back to our homepage just to have a practical view. So when this is the new call homepage, European Remembrance 2022. So here you might find all the links to the relevant documents in the topic, conditions, and documents. You will find the budget overview and all the metadata on the call. And as soon as it will be opened here, you will be able to access the submission forms that I will also show later, if the time permits. And I'm coming back to my presentation. So or not. Okay, so the proposal should be submitted electronically, as I say, through the FNTP portal. They should be complete and contain the mandatory annexes, and they cannot exceed 70 pages. I have to say that it should be sufficient normally to have this. You can there are some how to say indications in the part B, as we call it, that you should respect for lump sum proposals such as this one. And if you respect them and you don't duplicate tables that are not used for lump sum, you can also gain pages if you want, if you need. So to be eligible, applicants should be legal entities, public or private bodies from eligible countries. For the time being, only EU member states are eligible, but we are expecting to have other countries associated to our programs. As soon as they begin negotiations with us, we can begin the negotiations on the association agreements, which will allow them then to join the program. We try to update our sights on the eligibility of countries. I mean, not try, but we do. But for the time being, only EU member states are eligible. So if you intend to involve non-member states, they can be associated partners in the project, which is also allowed by the new proposal template. The applicants should be public or regional authorities or non-profit organizations, including civil society organizations, survivors associations, and cultural, youth, education, and research organizations. Applicants and partners should be registered in the participants register and should have a PIC number. At the application stage, this PIC number should not be valid. They just have to create a PIC number. So the other conditions is that, as I already said, the consortium should be composed at least of 2 applicants, 2 eligible applicants, because associated partners are not applicants per se and are not beneficiaries. So eligible activities, I have already explained this. The geographic location, other than the eligible countries, the activities should also be organized in eligible countries. Eligible, I mean, eligible for funding. You can always organize activities outside the eligible countries, but then the activities that are organized there will not be eligible. The project must comply with the ethics and EU values, as described in the Article 2 of the Treaties on the European Union, Treaty on the European Union, and Article 21 of the EU Charter of the Fundamental Rights. And they must also comply with applicants should have a child protection policy as soon as they will interact with children or will involve children in their activities. If not, or if some members of the consortium will involve children in their activities, those members should have a child protection policy. This is mandatory. So at the later stage, the financial capacity will be checked for those that are selected based on the rules that are established in the program. But the operational capacity is checked by the experts and assessed together with the award criterion quality. The award criterion are the following: relevance, quality, and impact. The relevance has a minimum pass score of 25 points out of 40. Quality has a maximum score of 40, and impact has a maximum score of 20. And the project's overall, the application's overall pass score is 70. So if a project doesn't reach, an application doesn't reach 70 points, or in relevance 25 points, then it cannot be selected for funding. I must also, as you will see, put an emphasis on the gender perspective of the projects, because it's integrated in the relevance part and in the quality part, and indirectly also in the dissemination impact part of the project. This is an overarching aspect and should be taken really into account during the planning of the activities and the call. So under the under the criteria relevance, the following sub-criteria are checked. So whether the project is relevant to the objectives and the priorities of the call, if the needs are clearly defined and the needs assessment is clearly established in the project, if the target group is clearly defined, and the gender perspective is also taken into account in the selection of the target group and other aspects. If the project contributes to the EU strategic and legislative context, whether it has an European and transnational or transnational dimension, if it is suitable to transfer good practices, and if it has a potential to develop mutual cross-border cooperation. Voila. So the award criterion quality will treat about the clarity and consistency of the application and the future project, the logical links between the identified problems, needs, and the solutions, the methodology of implementation with, again, the gender perspective as it is highlighted in red. Under this criterion, it is also assessed how the project is feasible within the proposed time frame. And yes, so sorry, this is not what I wanted to do. This is what, so, and under the last criterion, impact, we are looking for the ambition and the expected long-term impact of the results on the target groups and the general public of the application, the appropriate dissemination strategy for ensuring sustainability and long-term impact, a potential for a positive multiplier effect, and how the project is sustainable on the long term if and after the EU funding ends. As you can see in the new call, we have only 3 main criteria compared to 4 that we have had before. So what makes a good proposal? A good proposal should already have be in line with the policy priorities and have a clear focus. Its objectives should be realistic and relevant to the participating organizations and target groups. It should address real needs in the field. It should have a well-established methodology, should be consistent with realistic project objectives, methodology, and activities. The budget should reflect the foreseen activities. It is especially important for lump sum projects because, as it is described in the call document, we are promoting, the lump sum is based on events. So it means that all your activities should be organized around events as such to be able to claim funding. I'm sorry, my kids are having homeschooling and so yes, and the budget should reflect on the foreseen activities. As I said, coming back to this, the lump sum is established through events. One event can be composed of several activities, but one event should be presented as one work package in the call for proposal, in the part B of the proposal, and the deliverables should be organized around this. The partnership should be strong. It means that the partners, and I will come that in the next screen, and the realistic, it should promote realistic and sustainable results and a good media coverage. So if you have a project idea in mind, before starting to complete the application, you have to take time to formulate this idea, maybe download the project documentation, and then review it very well. Try to organize your ideas on how the data are requested from you, and be sure that your project fits into the European Remembrance objectives and priorities, of course, and ensure that the partners that are involved in the project have been involved in the creation of the project itself, because we see sometimes that partners don't even really know what the project is about and until submission. And that allow time, as I said, for drafting, reviewing, and redrafting the projects. So this is basically the same. So this is again, partners should be familiar with the application, and you should be familiar with the implementation of the project. The numbers, dates, and venues of the meeting should already planned in advance. Of course, this is an application is a plan, but if you have a strong plan, then you can formulate your ideas around that. So I don't know if I still have the time, because then I will just present the technicalities. I don't know if someone can tell me if I still have the time or.
I think it's good.
I said yes. Sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Oh, okay, so this will be the submission procedure on where to find the call, how to create your application, and the proposal structure. So first, again, I will go, because okay, we have the print screen, but I think it's even better if we go directly to the web page, and we go to the funding and tender portal of the Commission, which by now I think that most of you must know. So this is, I go to the home. So here you can find us here in the Citizens Equality Rights and Values Program, CERV. Okay, but there are several. So you click here, you fall here, and you can search on our programs, and on the program and the calls and the news on the program. But what I like to use is this one to find the calls for proposals and tenders. So here you can write CERV or European Remembrance, or just Remembrance, and it will show you the last one, which was the Remembrance 2020 of the Europeans or Europe for Citizens program. And here the already closed the 2021 call and the open one that is here. So here you will find the main topic descriptions, as I said, topic conditions, and I will come to that, the standard proposal template and the lump sum calculator. I will show you a print screen about this. It will be visible when you enter through the start submission. You will have to click on the button. It will lead you to the so-called SEP submission page. And there you will be able to fill in the data, the main data for the applicants. So now I come back to the print screen. Okay, this is what you will see. You will click on it, start submission, and you will arrive to this page. So if you don't have a PIC, or your partner organization doesn't have a PIC, they should first register on. You have to go to, again, the funding and tender portal, and click on register, which will be in the upper right corner, and you register your organization. At this stage, please be aware that only as applicants, so here we are talking about multi-beneficiary projects, so all the partners are applicants as well, except the associated partners. So the applicants should be eligible, which means that they should be non-profit or local or regional authorities, which means that when you fill in and you register, please take good care of filling it as non-profit if you are non-profit, and because then it can cause problems at a later stage okay. So then when all the PIC numbers are ready, you can begin to create your application. So here at this page, you can, by typing your organization number, you can find the organization if it has already a PIC number, of course, and you put your PIC number there, and you pick your organization. So the first organization will be, of course, the coordinator organization, the single point of contact between the Commission and the project. And then you add one by one your organization. Here, of course, don't pay attention that this is a Carliti page, because I cannot show you pages since the project is, I mean, the 2021 call is already closed, but this is basically the same registry process. So by adding partners, you can again fill in with PIC numbers till find it, and you can add them. You can also add affiliated entities if you need to, and add associated partners to your project. So the coordinator, as I said, is the main point of contact between the Commission parts of the application, but the partners are there also, to help to reach the objectives and solve the problems. So we advise now, since we moved from a mono beneficiary project, not only advise, it will be in the contract, to have a consortium agreement in which you agree on the different aspects of the management of the project, distribution of funds, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the proposal structure. The part A is the online form. This is basically composed of the main key data on the organization, on the budget distribution, and keywords related to your project, and the abstract, of course. This you will fill in the screens that I showed you here. Here you will have the possibility down to fill in with the abstract that will be then generated when you go to save and go to next step, and then generate proposal. So the part B is an annex, which you will be able to find at in this print script. We don't have it, sadly, but maybe, yes. Here, the part B is an annex. Part B templates are composed for our call from the lump sum calculator, and the so-called part B. The part B is the project description. So this is where you have to describe your project from A to Z with all the data that you think are important and are asked from the template, in the template, sorry. So the part B you have to download it and then re-upload it as a PDF. It can be maximum 70 pages. You have to know that the program, I mean this interface, will cut anything above 70 pages. So if you have important data which are at the end of the projects, which I think, if I'm not wrong, are related to the child protection policy and this kind of thing, it can be cut if you are above 70 pages. You have to take good care of entering this page limit. Description of so it contains a description of the projects and applicant organizations, work packages, activities. The annex one is the budget calculator template. I will show you this very soon. A list of key previous projects for the last 4 years. This is also integrated in the part B, so if you have it inside, then it's also sufficient to have it there. The child protection policy can also be described in the part B. And you should, as much as possible, if you need a child protection policy and have a child protection policy, which is a must, then please give your website when this child protection policy can also be found for experts to evaluate, but also develop it in the proposal. The part C online is an online form which contains mainly the type of organizations, the priorities that you have chosen, and the basic indicators on for the parts C, you will also find in this main part, edit forms. When you click on edit forms, you fall on the part A, and if you click on part C, you will fall on part C. And if you download the part B, you will of course have the part Bs. So this is the structure of the part A. As I said, so the general information, participants, budget, and the part B is structures on, or main structures are basically like the structure of the above criteria. So relevance, quality, impact, the work packages and activities timetable, and ethics and EU values part and other declarations. So this is its table of content. And this is how the lump sum calculator looks like. So here, as you can see, you have one event, which should be one work package in your part B and one event, the same C. So country, and here you have to define in the calculator on whether it's in situ or online, how many countries of residents of the participants are involved, and how many participants, direct participants, are involved. If you have several activities for one event, the participants should be unique participants. I mean, if one participant participates in several activities of the event, he or she can be counted only once, of course. So here, the part C structures I have already explained. And yeah, so that was a quick ending to this proposal, because yes, so voila. So if you need support, you can always go to the funding and tender portal and there click on the support. If you have technical problems, don't leave the submission of your proposal to the very last day, okay? Because there can always be server problems in the commission. You can have access problems. So if you can identify your access problems, you can always do it beforehand. And what I can suggest to you, because this so-called e-grants, where the funding and tender opportunities portal, where you submit your proposal, you can always, when you have submitted the proposal, you can always come back. You can say, okay, I want to withdraw it. Then you will still have the data, okay, to edit. But you can already see if you have submission problems or something like this. You can always do a test. You just have to, if you don't want to keep it, you just have to withdraw it or delete it or whatnot. So you can always play with this page. I think it's very useful compared to our previous previous platform that we had. It is much more user friendly in this respect, not in all respects, but this respect it is. So you will have an online manual, which which look like this. You can have the FAQs on the portal. The new call will be populated with FAQs as soon as we can open the call. And if you have, I mean, content-related questions, you can always send them to the EACEA-CERV@ec.europa.eu, and you mark that you highlight that you are requesting guidance for the European Remembrance call, and then it will fall to my and my colleagues' hand, and we will answer as soon as we can. So these are other reference documents that you can find under the tab how to participate, with the CERV regulation, work program, standard application form in PDF, model grant agreements, and reporting templates. And these are the useful links, as I already presented them. So as I think I didn't finish my idea on, so don't leave at the last moment, but if you have technical problems, you have to contact the help desk of the IT help desk for the funding and tender portal, and which will be displayed, of course, on the submission page, the help desk that you have to contact. And I suggest you to put the ECA-serv@ec.europa.eu in copy. If this is in the last moment, they will probably ask you to send them your part, the last version of your part B. So don't forget to include this as well. Be proactive on this respect, so that if there are any real technical problems that are identified and confirmed by the help desk after the submission, they will be assessed, and not sure, but maybe they can be accepted. This e-grants procedure is less flexible in this respect than the Europe for Citizens program's last platform was in this respect. So, and thank you, and I think there will be a questions and answer session, so I'd be happy to answer to your questions. Voila.
Thank you, Fabian. Many thanks for your presentation. It's really sometimes for the small civil society organizations, not I mean as universities or something, but the really smaller ones had and will have maybe many questions and issues with this new portal, but it's very important also this technical explanation. And of course we open the floor to the people who has questions on the chat, or even if you would ask some questions to the content in general, the program, to Gilles Pelayo, or just technical questions on this nowadays open call for this 2022. So we have a small time now till 11 o'clock to this before moving on to the next table.
Maybe I can start with a question just to allow for some time for other people to jump in. Maybe it would be a question mainly for Gilles. Yesterday, the French President Macron announced among the priorities of the French presidency for the coming semester, for first half of 2022, that history education mostly will be one of the priorities they intend to work. And I think he even announced a meeting or some kind of initiative at the end of the semester. So my question would be, is there already some work being done with the presidency of the council in this respect, or this comes more or less as a new thing that will have to unfold during the presidency? So in other words, I would like to know, you have mentioned, and I think we're all very grateful for that remark about the collaboration, let's say, or the working together between the European Parliament and the European Commission. So my question would be, how about the Council and the Commission, and more specifically in the view of the upcoming French presidency? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Martin. To be honest, let's say I don't have details about what the French presidency has in mind. It was very interesting and refreshing to see that history would be one of the priorities of the next EU Council presidency. Fortunately, in part thanks to networks such as EUROM, we really don't start from scratch at the European level, and the Remembrance strand of Europe for Citizens for a very long time has fostered European approaches to history, and there were even initiatives before the program. Let's say the European level of governance has devoted financial means to supporting such a project. So I'm really excited. It's true that let's say among the three institutions, Parliament, Commission, Council, I mean, until now, it hadn't been so much of a priority, perhaps, talking about history issues. But now let's see what they come up with. And it's good to have active networks such as home to be able to chip in this initiative. At our level, we will make sure that our partners, our beneficiaries can bring their let's say firepower and their analytical capacity to whatever initiative is taken by the French, over the coming semester.
Thank you.
I think that there is a question to Fabian. How will you operate regarding those actions not selected in 2021 that want to apply again in 2022? Is there any specific recommendation besides following resolution?
Yes, if you I'm sorry, so if you look on the feedback that was given to the applicants, it is a much more detailed feedback that we had before for European Remembrance. So the experts are quite into details in the evaluation of the project, so you can see where your project has difficulties or a lack of information or this kind of things. So if you develop on that, or yes, if you develop on those, this can improve your proposal. But proposals are evaluated every year, so by sometimes different experts. Even if you resubmit it, sometimes it will be evaluated by a different expert or experts even. So this is what I would suggest, really, to read through the ESR, which we call it ESR, Evaluation Summary Report, and try to focus on what was said, that it's not correctly developed or lack of information on this kind of things.
Thank you. Marcus, I think that you are asking. Hi, thank you to be here also.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, thanks for the presentation to the colleagues from the agency. So I should first say that I'm really happy that the Europe for Citizens program is continued in this new CERV, the form of the new CERV program. But my question would be, and in particular now to Gilles also, how is the perception that the focus, the thematic focus of the program continues to be rather narrow, as was in the former Europe for Citizens program, in the sense of the focus is clearly on totalitarian regimes, the resistance to those totalitarian regimes. Would you have liked to see maybe a bit of a broadening in the sense of including also maybe more aspects of colonialism, other aspects of European history? Because one of the points of criticism has been that by focusing so strongly only on totalitarianism, we are maybe not necessarily forgetting about other aspects, but it seems that you measure everything by the standards of totalitarianism, in comparison to which, most other elements of European history appear rather, unproblematic. So, in other words, would you have liked to see also at the political level more ambition to go beyond that focus, or do you think it's good to keep that focus? So that would be my question.
The work program of the European Commission is what it is, Marcus, so to speak. In its infinite wisdom, the Commission has approved this. I think it's not as narrow as this, in the sense that there is a part of, I would say, history also in the thematic focus of the program that needs to be respected. And particularly when we approach history at the European level, let's say, and at the EU level also, which is even narrower than the European level at large. So So there's this aspect of respect for the historical heritage of what we've been doing. In part also that reflects the interest and thematic focus of some of the stakeholders, traditional stakeholders of the program. There's that. But I would argue that the CERV program globally, as it is written, it's a regulation adopted by the European Parliament and the Council at the top, then the work program of the Commission, which is adopted annually, and then the way the calls for proposals are redacted at the practical and more technical level. They still leave ample room for innovative projects in possibly all fields that are of European EU relevance, and there are many. And the proof of that is that even though there is indeed, and we have to acknowledge this, a kind of focus on the issues you have mentioned, we have really a track record of supporting projects in a wide variety of topics. There is a legitimate emphasis on issues that sometimes resonate with the present situation, you know, hot topics, migration, liberation routes, populism, that kind of issue, and that's fair enough. I believe this was very much, by the way, coming back to the question of Marty, the way in which the French president pitched his need to go back to the history of Europe, but it's not too narrow, I would conclude.
Thank you.
I mean, we should invite Macron next year to take next talk and talk about colonialism, exiles, migrations. All these concepts are inside the program, but of course, this, you know, remember, totalitarianism is all kind of an umbrella. Oriol, please.
Yes, well,
yeah.
Thank you, Jordi, and thank you to all the speakers for the very interesting presentations. Okay, I have a very practical question. Since from EUROM, we usually invite different targets and different partners from all over Europe and beyond the EU border. So my question is, so far, what non-EU countries had already signed the agreement to be eligible for the Remembrance call?
Zero. No, for the moment, it's still early days in the program, and these things take time. Association agreement, there are sort of international negotiations, so some of them have expressed interest, but for the moment, it's zero. You know, that's a bit the unfortunate issue of having, you know, multi-annual financial perspective. We start all over again every 7 years, so to speak. And this time, particularly the regulations and everything, they were ready only at the beginning of this year, like in spring. So there's time needed to start all over again the association of third countries. It won't take, you know, forever, but it may take, you know, some good weeks, months, because these are international negotiations in the framework with some of these countries, particularly the Western Balkan countries, the countries with a perspective of accession, you know, of a solid framework of managing the relations of these countries with the EU. So there are association agreements. So there's a kind of a whole scenography of managing this. It will come eventually, but it's, you know, not unlikely that at the end of the day, the whole process that takes it's a guesstimate, and it's not an information. A whole good year, you know, since the adoption of the regulations last year. So perhaps around beginning spring of next year, we will have a good wave of first associated countries to the program.
So if they are not eligible right now and before the deadline, sorry, we cannot include them in possible projects.
May I?
Vas-y, Peter.
Okay, I will just quickly open the call, just to quote the call. I bet you probably read it. You can include them, but they will not be eligible for funding. So basically, if you include them and you give them funds, and they are not eligible at the time of the signature of the grant agreement, they will become ineligible partners, which doesn't mean that the whole project is ineligible if it's selected. Then during the negotiation process for the contract signature, we will request you to replace them or put them as associated partners, but they cannot receive EU funding, okay, directly. Okay, so just quickly, I try to open the call to quote you this part of the call. Because I don't know it by heart, I just know it by feeling. So I Control F, eligible. No, this is too much, I think. Oh. Come on. I have all my kids are at home. Sorry for the noise, because they are all homeschooled, and they take also my Wi-Fi away. Okay, eligible. Yeah, here it is. So it says, yes. So countries associated to the CERV program or countries which are in ongoing negotiations for an association agreement, and where the agreement enters into force before the grant signature. Okay, so it means it. So if the negotiations are already ongoing when the projects are submitted, they are eligible. If it enters into force before the signature, so it leaves you how to say, you have to submit until March. So we have to have ongoing negotiations until March. Basically.
Well, thank you. I don't know if you have some technical closing and Fernanda about the following session online.
Well,
anyway, thanks.
I do have a practical information. Well, I think now Jordi is the pause, the break. So that means that we have time to network. And we would like to invite you for the next half hour to visit the museum online, explore the place, but also be aware that you can engage in one-on-one conversations just by clicking to the avatars in the TOLA platform. And then, of course, explore the videos, the different material that is part of the conference. The important practical information here is that participants can stay connected to Zoom while they are, let's say, in the museum virtually. So no need to disconnect. Just leave things as they are, and then we should be back on Zoom, all of us, at 11:30.
Okay. Anyway, thank you very much, Gilles, Peter, for your participation here. And also, this is very, very good to have a contact also in the Commission and your agency in Brussels to have this feedback and going on process of.
Thanks to you, and spread the word. Let's say all the network needs also to mobilize all the, your connections, friends, associates to participate in the program. We need, a maximum of good project proposals in the coming harvest. So voilà. Thanks again for the invitation.
Merci.